So it's a rainy day where I am, but we're going to be working on our contrasting color assignment today. We can do this indoors using window light, but make sure that you turn all of the artificial light out where you're working. Even reflections from a different room will impact or can impact the things that you're photographing, especially shiny objects or something that has glare on it. So I'm going to show you some examples of student work, but first of all, let's look at the assignment sheet. Here we go, contrasting color assignment, use natural light. It's written here, it's written here. Please, I just want to emphasize that you do need to use natural light for this assignment. Your assignment is to select two interesting objects of a distinct color and think about the backgrounds and the contrasts of the color in the background. For one, we want you to have the same color or the same hue, same palette as the main object. So look around and see what you can do with that. And for the second image, same object, but the second image needs to be with a contrasting color. Now in your book, I'm going to look at the color wheel in just a moment, and that will show you the color that will be a maximum contrast, if you will. But you do need to try and learn the color wheel, get that in your head, and there's some technical information in there as well, although the emphasis today is very much on creativity. All right, so background, basically you're photographing two things: object with background in a matching color, object with background in a different color. And you're doing it with two objects, so it'd be 3 and 3, 3 images of one object with the same color, 3 images of the same object with a contrasting color. Do that with two different objects, and you'll have your 12 images for grading as ever. Upload to Blackboard. And also we're hoping we'll be able to get some FaceTime with you later on in the semester, probably after the summer break, and we'll be able to print up your working portfolios and your portfolios as well. Okay, so let's go back to this, see if I can find the book first of all. And the chapter in your book, reading assignment, chapter 5, light and color today. And have a read through the book. We've got, let me see, some of the technical information that we've also already been talking about, the visible spectrum here, 400 to 700 nanometers, and you can see the visible spectrum here. So that relates to what we've done in our other class. And here is the other really important page that I'd like you to look at. And as I say, the emphasis is very much on the creative aspects, but there is technical information here as well. Here you're going to see that there's reference to the additive process, the additive system, and also the subtractive system. If we think of the additive system in simple terms, light generating color, and the three colors that we're very familiar with, red, green, and blue. And when those lights combine together, well, all together, it creates white light when they're all combined together. But we can see the combinations of colors and how they combine in this diagram here. And we'll talk a little bit further in a moment. The subtractive system, we're talking about ink on a page, and here you can see when you combine the three inks together, in the middle you end up with black. When we're printing, we're using the three colors, cyan, magenta, and yellow. And when those colors are combined together as inks, and we're thinking of light reflecting off of those, three combinations create black. In our printers, we have additional black ink to add depth and contrast to the color so that it looks really cool. But the important thing for today, and this is what I want you to make sure that you can, sorry about this jumping about, keeping you awake, is the color wheel here. And I'd like you to draw a color wheel. You can do it with just the triangles. So draw two of these triangles, first of all, and at the top, magenta, and the contrasting color from magenta is green. So magenta and green can go together. Blue, and the contrasting color for blue is yellow, and red. The contrasting color for red is cyan here. Uh, those are the colors that you need to be able to draw on your color wheel. So you could do the star and just put in the letter, corresponding letter for the color: magenta, red, yellow, green, cyan, and blue. Magenta is a combination of red and blue. Cyan is a combination of blue and green. And yellow is a combination of red and green, which seems like a really counterintuitive, odd thing to think. But if we look at the diagram down below, we can see that red light and green light combined equals yellow. If we think in terms of light, it starts to make more sense. If we start thinking in just inks, it doesn't make any sense at all in my mind. Creatively for the assignment today, when we're thinking about choosing our colors for our background, say I found an object that's red and I want to create a background that is maximum color contrast. It's going to be cyan over here. And on this color wheel here, it may be that I find an object that's kind of a reddish orange color, and I should be able to find the color on the color wheel here. If I want to find the maximum color contrast for a background, I can just spin to the other side of the color wheel here, and that's going to give me my maximum color contrast. Say it's a shade, a light shade of green that I've chosen through here. I can look at the other side over here and find the maximum color contrast. You may also want to be thinking of colors that don't contrast, but they do correspond well together with a lot more subtlety. And in a sense, this assignment today is designed to try and give you some creative ideas of how you can use color as the driving force in your photographs. Images with just one color palette can be particularly powerful. Have a look and study on these pictures in your book. Read the captions around them. A book that's predominantly one palette with one contrasting color element in it. So this picture here, predominantly these kind of very cool blues, but this warm light in here as a contrasting color works really well. I love this photograph too, where we have blending colors that are very, very subtle. And you may be able to use this for inspiration as well. The color assignments, we just want to add color as a part of your creative palette, if you will, your toolbox, your creative toolbox. And there are some things that we photograph where understanding color really lends itself really well. Food photography in particular, where the natural colors of food are vibrant and can be really, really beautiful, and learning how to combine those together can work really well. If you look at your color wheel, you'll see that green is on one side of the color wheel, red on the other. And if you're photographing a green salad, for example, with what we have, lettuce and cucumber and maybe onion that's a little lighter but still of the same palette, and then we add on a slice of tomato, the red of the tomato is in stark contrast with the green salad. Think about colors that clash as well. If we have a plate that's covered in red tomatoes and I put a carrot on top of that, the orange of the carrot and the red are going to clash. And that can sometimes work for good effect as well. So other pictures here. Here predominantly the yellow looks like Arches National Park with the blue of the sky. The colors of nature all blend well together. And as I say, have a look through this chapter, read through some of the technical stuff and see how color is used in the images. Some student work there then, just bear with me. I've got one folder that's got a bunch to look at in here. I think we started here. Yellow of the fowl contrasting with a blue background. A yellow fowl on a yellow background. And here we do have a little bit of green, but when you have a palette that is all one color, it can feel quite oppressive. And so just learning how to mix it up. Also, it's really important that we use natural light today. It will have a real impact if we don't use natural light. The objects that you select, interesting objects, we're surrounded by interesting things that we use every day. It doesn't have to be a fancy thing. And of course, the things that as professionals we'd photograph are the things that we would use. And so it can be very ordinary things that we photograph. If you photograph against a fabric background, please be very aware of the creases in the background. And this fabric, I think, is folded really, really well, especially all the creases on the left-hand side through here. This kind of woolen, fine woolen fabric, if it's not new, it will have bubbles on it and not look particularly attractive. So be very careful with selecting the surface of your fabric. If it is a fabric, if it's got lots of creases in it, either get the creases out so it is absolutely pristine, or use the creases and as a part of the composition. I love here, you can imagine this bottle is being dropped into something really soft, and the way that the fabric is creasing in is working really well there. Here's an example of a fabric that's not creased quite so well. Certainly the color is looking good for this assignment, but artificial light, lots of reflections on here. This is the kind of thing, ordinary things, but really tuning into the color as the dominant driving force in the image that we're taking. So have a look around, look at the things that are familiar to you. I love this photograph. TJ did this. Looks like a little mandolin, M&Ms. And even the position of the M on the M&Ms is very well thought out. Very ordinary things that we're surrounded with. Let's see what we can work with. Remember all of your other compositional things that we've been learning here. The size and proportion of your object in the image. The position of the horizon down on a low third here. And it's amazing to me with this single strand of cotton here really jumps out at you, even though it is so fine. Red on red, green on red, green on red, yellow on yellow. So simple things, photograph well, take special attention of the lighting that you're using and other compositional tools as we go through today. All right, that's it for now. Please get back to me if you have any questions, and I hope you have a good day working on this assignment.